for January the 4th, 2022. Happy New Year, everybody. Ms. Hilbrick, will you please call roll?
Councilman De La Garza?
I am present.
Mayor Pro Tem Solis?
Here.
Councilman Crocker?
Here.
Councilwoman Scott?
Here.
Councilman Young?
Here.
Councilman Lofgren?
Here.
And Mayor Bucknight.
Here. Then if everybody will please rise for the pledges and then followed by a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Again, welcome everybody. Mr. Garza, do you have any announcements or reminders for this evening? Not listed.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Welcome to 2022. Happy New Year. Hope you all have a great holiday season. The only announcement that I want to make, we do have some employee recognitions, but we'll get to those in a little bit. But I do want to mention that this week and next week is the 2-year work anniversary for both of our assistant city managers. And I want to publicly thank them for the 2 years of service to the city. We've obviously been able to accomplish a lot, and it'd be impossible without their assistance. And so I want to publicly acknowledge their 2-year work anniversary. So thank you guys for all the work that you do.
Thank you.
And we can just slide right into the more structured recognitions.
Okay.
And first, I'd like to call up Christy Euchre with Keep Victoria Beautiful.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We're once again here to honor a business in Victoria that has taken extra special care of their property. And I've got Meredith Bird, our board chair, to announce the winner.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. On behalf of Keep Victoria Beautiful, I would like to congratulate Wiener Schnitzel on John Stockbauer as the winner of our Business Beautification Award for the month of January. As you know, the community is invited to nominate businesses for this award, and the person who nominated Wiener Schnitzel specifically pointed out the nice landscaping and the lack of litter, adding, quote, "I'm always impressed with how clean and orderly it appears. How much work must it take to keep this corner lot looking so great?" Our award committee recognizes that certain types of businesses naturally generate more litter than others, and that those businesses must devote more time to keeping their property looking nice and free of trash. Wiener Schnitzel is a shining example of a business that embodies Keep Victoria Beautiful's mission of enhancing the livability of Victoria by beautification through a sense of pride and ownership. And so we are proud to recognize owner Mark Geschwind and Wiener Schnitzel as January's award winner.
All right. And now we have a School Board Recognition Month proclamation. If Ms. Hilbrick would please read that for me.
Whereas the mission of the public schools is to meet the diverse educational needs of all children and to empower them to become competent, productive contributors to a democratic society in an ever-changing world, and whereas local school board members are committed to children and believe that all children can be successful learners and that the best education is tailored to the individual needs of the child, and whereas local school board members work closely with parents, educational professionals, and other community members to create the educational vision we want for our students, and whereas local school board members are responsible for ensuring the structure that provides a solid foundation for our school system, and whereas local school board members are strong advocates for public education and are responsible for communicating the needs of the school district to the public and the public's expectations to the district. Now, therefore, I, Jeff Bucknight, do hereby declare my appreciation to the members of the Victoria Independent School District School Board and proclaim the month of January 2022 as School Board Recognition Month in Victoria Victoria, Texas. I urge all citizens to join me in recognizing the dedication and hard work of local school board members and in working with them to mold an education system that meets the needs of both today's and tomorrow's children.
Well, I'll never turn that opportunity down.
Sorry.
It's quite the year it's been. I think we could all attest to that. It's been something that's challenged us all. And so on that note, I want to express our eternal gratitude to the members of council, Mr. Mayor, council people. Thank you very much for this recognition. I would be remiss if I didn't go ahead and include our colleagues that also serve on the private school boards, knowing the challenges that they have faced over this last year, and also thank those that have served on the VISD school board prior to us. It is on their accomplishments and their work that we stand and we continue on. Thank you very much for this recognition. We appreciate the incredible working relationship that we continue to have with the city. Again, our gratitude. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah, so for our next recognitions, I want to ask Assistant City Manager Derrick Farrell to come up and recognize our two employees.
Pop myself with a mask. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I have a great honor to recognize two of our outstanding employees who actually I get to work with on a regular basis. And we're very proud. You always hear first employee, Tiffany Totah, with one accolade after another being displayed, and this one is a big one. She has completed her Global Master of Business Administration degree in management from the University of Houston, Victoria. The program provides management instruction with a global perspective, including lessons in staffing, training, and development, role of human resources management, developing competitive advantage, and the application of functional knowledge to address cross-disciplinary issues in the global marketplace. So when I heard global and business, I thought, what? But she definitely makes it applicable here, and so we're glad to recognize and support her in that accomplishment. So please join me in an applause for Tiffany. The second employee sits over kind of quietly a lot of times until something blows up. But James Foote completed the International City Management Association's High Performance Leadership Academy. It's a 12-week program that's created to equip government professionals with leadership skills in organizational development and change management. James completed 4 courses over that 12 weeks in leadership, mindset, and positive engagement, leading effective change, communication, collaboration, and leading high-performance teams. And when we completed the course, we got an email from ICMA telling us what a great representative of our city that James was. So please join me in supporting him. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Foote and Ms. Totah. Great job.
That's all I got.
All right. Let's go into items from council. I have 2 items, but I'll hold them. Anybody else has anything? No? Okay, I would just want to request that at the next meeting, we have items from council, topic on residential speed limits, at the request of Mr. Lofgren. And then also, since we're talking about residential speed limits, maybe we can touch again on speed humps. That's all I have.
Got it.
And Happy New Year again.
Mayor, I'd like to add something before we jump to consent.
Sure.
We would like to staff pull item D2, which is the item associated with the reapportionment plan or the redistricting plan. It was brought to our attention yesterday that there's some adjustments needed to be made to the map to account for some recent annexations that took place, like in Lake Forest, for example. And so we'd like to take time to update the maps and update the figures. And we double checked with outside counsel, and we were okay if simply considering this item at our next meeting.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. With that, we'll close items from council. And we have nothing with public hearing, so we'll go into the consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you so much, Ms. Silbert. Citizens communication, Mr. Von der Rohe. Happy New Year.
Oh, same to you. I gave you guys a break, that's why I didn't come. I must be annoying. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and Mayor Pro Tem. We have a problem with loose pit bulls in the area. I don't know if you remember In October, a couple pit bulls tried to kill some police officers and they had to shoot them. But this is a continuing problem, and just the specific address the pit bull lives at, it's at 2203 East North Street. And the people that live there, they believe dogs run without leashes. Under no circumstances do they have a leash, and that's just the way it is. And went to animal control to ask them for a trap, and they said, we're not going to give you a trap because we're short-staffed. So I was wondering maybe the Victoria Police Department could spare a few people for animal control, work temporary assigned duty until they can hire enough people, or maybe the city council can get a GoFundMe and maybe get $2,000 in it and have 4 traps. But it's a safety issue to the community, and it did kill a dog, but it could kill 100 dogs and it's still not a dangerous dog. It has to bite a person or something. So anyway, you don't have to worry about the dead dog because the vultures got it. But I was wondering if someone could get me a trap and a community. That's ridiculous. You have all these dangerous dogs and animal control refuses to provide a trap. Thanks and good evening. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, is there anybody else that didn't maybe fill out a card? Seeing no one jump up, we'll close citizens communication, and now we will go to the consent agenda.
Item D1 is the adoption of minutes of the special meeting on December 10th, 2021, and the special meeting on December 14th, 2021. Item D3 is a resolution approving the first renewal of the city's annual bulk fuel supply contract with new distributing in an amount of $832,127.30. Item D4 is a resolution authorizing renewal of the election services contract with Victoria County Elections Administrator for the administration of city elections. Item D5 is a resolution authorizing an application to the Economic Development Administration's Travel, Tourism, and Outdoor Recreation Program in the approximate amount of $1,586,400 for the Riverside Golf Course Greens renovation project, committing city match funding requirements and identifying the source of funding for the match.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you.
I second.
We got a first and a second on the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item E1.
Item E1 is a resolution approving an interlocal agreement with Victoria County to transfer some CDBG-DR Flood Buyout Program applicants to the county's grant.
All right, I'm going to pretend to be Katie for a second. She didn't be here this afternoon. But really, and I think everybody's familiar with our flood buyout programs because the city has been doing these programs for many years. The most recent round of funding that we received in 2019 was specifically stemming from obviously the hurricanes that we've had over the last few years. And we partner with GrantWorks to help administer this program. And over the course of the last year and a half, there's been an effort to try and gauge interest from the affected areas to determine how many households we can assist. And through that process, we've realized that the amount of funding that was allocated to the city is not sufficient to cover the interest of the homeowners within the geographical area of the city. And the county has the opposite situation where they have more money than they have interest. And so through conversations with GrantWorks and the grant administrator individuals, which also include Robin with the county, she's here to also help answer any, help me out too as well. But in essence, the creative thought came to, okay, well, can we transfer some of this funding to be able to assist everybody that needs to be assisted since it's still in the same county? And of course, in working with the GLO and everybody involved, we figured out a way to do that. And so through this agreement is how we anticipate being able to leverage some of the funding that was made available to the county for some city residents, since we have more interest than we have funding in the city. Did I get that right?
Okay, does that mean that we would be taking care of all the grants or all the paperwork since it's being transferred to our account?
Over to the mechanics.
No, the additional applications will be transferred to the county, and the county will handle those applications and fulfilling the needs of ones that we're able to fund.
Okay, do we have a link where people can go and make an application, or do you have the applicants already?
I believe we have a significant amount of applicants to fill both funding from the city and the county at the time. So, and if there isn't, well, I'm sure we'll put out an additional information on who to contact. There are interested parties still in the community.
And there was a very specific geographic area that you had to live in to qualify for it. And so the marketing or outreach efforts were very specific just to those areas.
Okay, because the article in the paper made it sound like it was all over the place. Because I had people call and says, can I apply? And I didn't know what to tell them.
Correct, and there were also some confusion about, there were different programs and there were different rules for each program. So
Right.
this one did, I think, only include the floodplain areas
Okay.
that were designated. So this one is a little bit different. And the also damage from Hurricane Harvey was a different threshold than some of the other programs. So there was some confusion, and what we tried to do when we got those was forward them to other programs where they may, might better suit the things they were facing.
Okay. Thank you for clarification.
Do you have a question?
No?
No? All right.
Thank you, Mrs. Knipling.
I have a comment, and that's that this program, now that we're on the end of it where it's already being proposed, makes perfect sense. And it just seems so logical. So I'm glad we were able to figure out a way to accomplish this. We always say that the city is in the county. And, but it just, looking at it, it's like, why do we even have to approve this? It seems so logical. So thank you to whoever.
Make sure we don't turn any money back that can
That
help
we
people
can
in our
use,
community.
yes.
Exactly. Thank you to all the people involved in brainstorming this.
Happy to help.
With that, would you like to make a motion?
Oh, yes, I move we adopt this item.
Second.
Yeah.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, same sign. Motion is approved, or the item's approved. E2.
Item E2 is a resolution ratifying minor construction contract with J&R Contracting Services Incorporated for the Teakwood Emergency Sanitary Sewer Line Repair in the amount of $53,800.
This one, I don't have a presentation. It was a collapse that happened in October of this year, and it was up there at Teakwood in Business 59, and it was backing sewer up all the way, in fact, to Sam Houston. Got a contractor involved and got the materials and completed the work on December 17th. It actually started December 14th and completed in December 17th. And it's just ratification of the contract that we had for an emergency.
I'll move we adopt item E2.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Item E2 is approved. E3.
Item E3 is a resolution ratifying a minor construction contract with Main Lane Industries LTD of Houston, Texas for the emergency Bottom Street sanitary sewer line repairs project in the amount of $156,500.
Okay, this one I do have a presentation for, real quick. This one is another ratification of emergency. The location is at Bottom Street and Jim Branch Outfall. Again, same time period in October when we had those heavy rains. It was a concrete pipe failure, and it's a 36-inch pipe that's right by Jim Branch Outfall. And what we believe is with that failure and separation of the pipe, it really did increase the flows to the sewer plant substantially. Got some pictures of it. There's the location. Again, it's at Bottom Street and Jim Branch Outfall. There's some pictures. It's hard to see collapse, but you can see manhole by the creek and large hole. All the water is entering the creek. Get up. It just was that 36 inches direct for the regional plant. We contacted several contractors to get quotes, and Main Lane Industries is the low bid. The project scope consists of excavation of the collapsed area, dewatering. It's a deep sewer main, and there's a lot of groundwater in that area. Abandoning a section of the 36-inch main, install 2 plugs, furnish and install new 36-inch pipe, and a new 5-foot diameter manhole, again 15-foot deep, and then tying the 15-inch main into a 54-inch main, and then backfilling. Again, contractor Main Lane Industries out of Houston for $156,500. They were the same contractor that did a large repair for us at Airline in Jordan about a couple of years ago. That was a real big emergency. Executed the emergency contract in December. The contractor's securing materials. They've secured the 36-inch pipe. They're still looking for that 5-foot manhole. Apparently those are hard to secure, and they're doing everything they can to find it. We're hoping they mobilize mid-January, and then begin the work as soon as they get that, which we're hoping is in January. But we're just waiting on securing of the manhole.
I have a question. Okay, so they're plugging up the 36-inch and rerouting it to the 54-foot, not inch. Is it 54 inches, 54 feet?
Yes,
Okay, and you said that flow was going into the sewer plant?
yes.
So where's the 54 pipe going to direct that water to?
Same, it goes the same place. What we think is happening at 6 was it's another feed going to the plant, but we're able to isolate that one section and abandon that piece because there's no other services on it. And it was just, that's part of the, and I'll go into the I study that we're looking at. That's one of the prime areas that we have, that there are several large diameter lines that over the years, we've added new ones, but we've never really done the study to determine if those lines are necessary, how to abandon them, how to clean that area up. And that's what I think is happening in a lot of these old 36-inch, 24-inch lines down in the lower part of Victoria. They're failing, yet because the flows are getting to the plant and not overflowing, we don't know what's happening to them until we have a large collapse like this and we just see it.
So it's not causing an overflow?
It is causing an overflow, and the plant receives too much flow going into the plant. And that's what's happening is the plant can accept, it's getting average 4 MGD, and we get that rain, creek comes up, and the plant flows go up to 14, 15 MGD. Well, our plant's rated at 8. So as that water comes into the regional plant, it fills the plant up. We have basins that we can put the sewage in until we can treat it all. But at some point, when that plant gets too full, we have to start closing that plant down. And that's what can cause the overflows in the manholes.
And that's why it's a big deal, because that's a big deal with DCEQ.
Yes.
Obviously, if you have to get to that point, this is why in times of heavy rain, this becomes a concern for us at the plant because of this infiltration. That's why the NICE study is called that, because it helps identify the areas where you're getting excess water that going into the sewer pipes that don't need to be there. And obviously that comes from broken pipes, from cracked pipes, all sorts of things. And that's the study that we plan on bringing forward to you, if not at the next meeting, the first meeting in February, but we're already in negotiations with a company for that. And you may recall that council agreed to fund that through the ARPA funds, so we can use some of the ARPA funds for utility-related expenditures. This is actually exactly why we placed this item to have a presentation, because the amount could have easily gone on consent. But we wanted to show you an example of the type of issue that an I&I study would bring to light before it collapses. And then it just becomes, super obvious, right?
Okay, that makes sense. Now I understand what you're saying.
And one of the big things to do, I'll add on to that one real quick, is flow monitoring. In other words, they'll go in, an I&I company would come in and they'll set flow monitors at strategic locations of each, wastewater basin, and determine what the average flow is during dry times. And when the rain hits, bam, now the flow goes up. Okay, is that basin causing a problem, or is that a normal amount of I&I? There's always going to be a certain amount, but that's where we can identify the problem areas that we have. So it's going to be a good study.
And in parallel to this, we're also looking at upgrading to having a more legitimate SCADA system to help monitor everything, and having the same SCADA system monitor water and wastewater. But sophisticated SCADA systems also place permanent equipment throughout the system, so that you can kind of know that if there is an excess in infiltration, the system can detect, where more or less, the area that's coming from, versus right now, the only way to know is when it gets to the plant. Right. But trying to figure out where through all of the miles of pipes that we have is that occurring can be very difficult unless you have the technology laid out to help you figure it out. And so our challenge is obviously the physical infrastructure piece as well, but then the technological piece to be able to also keep better track of issues in the future.
Okay, great.
So the best case scenario, we do this I&I study, which is going to be probably pretty expensive,
Correct.
but that it will identify problems like this before they're emergencies, and they fall in the $150,000 to $200,000 range to repair, and maybe there's, 5, 7 of those that are the main cause of it, and we get it fixed.
Potentially. I mean, the best example I can think of is similar to the drainage master plan, where the drainage master plan kind of suggests, hey, we think you need to prioritize upgrading these culverts and regrading these ditches because we already can tell that they're not in great shape. We anticipate that the I&I study will identify areas that also say, hey, this is an issue here. Now, with the smoke test, as it's called,
That's part of it.
We need to keep in mind that unlike the drainage study or other studies, the I&I study is also going to reveal a lot of issues on the private side of the network. And so that's why it's a more complex, because yes, it's going to help identify breaks or cracks in public infrastructure, how you see here, but it's also going to identify, that household that, drains their backyard into the sewer pipe instead of stormwater, or, just how all that is figured out. So it's more comprehensive.
It's a very systematic approach when you do an I&I study. They have you do this step first, the flow monitoring, then you start smoke testing, then some of the last steps is your TV inspection of the lines. Look at every manhole, get them all GPS, know where everything is, depths, pictures, it's all data-based. It's pretty impressive compared to the 10 years ago, the technology that's all tied into our GIS system. And so it's a necessary thing that I think we're being progressive, and I applaud council and city manager for that, because it's usually something that comes through enforcement, but we're taking the first step.
I move to approve item E3.
I'll second. Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Thank you, Mr. Gill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Item E3 passes. Item E4.
Item E4 is a resolution awarding the 2022 Kelly Creek Drainage Twin 90-inch corrugated steel pipe repair project to Lester Contracting Incorporated of Fort Lavaca, Texas, for the low proposal of $475,785.
Okay, this project, if you'll remember, we had a repair back in 2017. The original pipe was constructed in 1979, and it was part of a global, what I call, not global, but regional drainage project that included these twin 90-inch pipes and then a large corrugated pipe all the way up Glasgow. And it had installed put-in-place anchors to hold that pipe down. It's not very deep. We had the first repair in 2017, and we repaired it with corrugated steel pipe, just like it is now. Lester Contracting performed that work, and we anchored the pipe with stainless steel strapping, and we used 48-inch ground anchors to hold that pipe down. The current failure is just downstream of the 2017 repair, and it's resulting in just deterioration of that corrugated pipe. The bottom is gone. It's non-existent, and as that water comes in or a big piece of debris hits, it'll hit some of that bottom pipe, and it just twists it. That pipe carries a lot of water, both of them. Location is behind Kelly Creek Drive. It's on those large lots on Edinburgh. And again, it's in front of, I don't know whose lot, but we've contacted the property owners to get permission to access the Twin 90s. Here's the photos of what it looks like right now. They're both exposed. You can see they're twisted and out of shape. Project scope is to remove that damaged section, which is about 820 feet, install new 90-inch 14-gauge pipe, band it to the existing, anchor it again with the same deep anchors and no strapping, wrap the joints with fabric, backfill, seed and fertilize with the giant Bermuda, which was out there prior and out there existing now. And the contractor is Lester Contracting. They were the low proposal at $475,785. And I'll entertain any questions. Oh, the timeline. Award the contract tonight, and then we'll prepare and execute contract documents in January, secure the materials mid-February, and we hope to begin construction late February and then complete in April. It's the same group, same contractor, and same superintendent that's going to be working on that same job.
Curious, what does a 90-inch pipe carry, GPM-wise?
I'd have to figure that one out, but it's
A lot.
I walked those pipes many years ago, and it's amazing. They're clean. There's no silt in them. which is an indication that both of them
Heavy
are
flow.
flowing absolute full when it rains hard. And that's why they're starting to, when that flow gets going, it's only when it's hard that they start twisting or it rips open.
When you say you walk them, you got to walk down them?
Walk down them. Long time ago. We don't do that anymore.
Make a motion, we approve E4.
Second.
All right, motion and second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. E4 is approved. E5.
Item E5 is a resolution awarding the Main Street Sanitary Sewer Replacement Project to J&R Contracting Services Incorporated, Victoria, Texas, for the low proposal of $1,396,647.
This is the project you remember was in our CIP that was planned for early this year, and we sped it up to get the consultant designed it so we could actually start the project. It's an existing clay and concrete that's collapsed sections, missing pipe. It's to replace 2,300 linear feet of 8-inch sewer and 5,300 feet of 12-inch sewer. Open cut, pipe bursting, or cured-in-place technology. Until we can really get a scope and TV that line and the contractor can get out there to verify what he can do, they'll determine at that point. Our goal is to use cured-in-place. That is the cheapest, least evasive method. But we need to get in there and they got to be able to TV that line all the way and keep it clean. And we're not sure whether they can make that happen. Vicinity map, this again, it starts over there at Circle Drive on Navarro, goes under the tracks. We're going to eliminate some of that, and we're going to carry this up Main Street and get that sewer away from underneath the road tracks. Construction contract is J&R Contracting Services of Victoria. We negotiated the proposal amount of $1.4 million. Scope is again televising and cleaning, open cut, or cured in place, or pipe bursting. And the timeline, again, award in January, start construction in February, and we hope to complete then next year or sooner. We've got a good contractor, and they've performed very well on other projects in town, and they know the need that we have and the time that we spend on vacuuming out those lines.
And is this the area that's having to be vacuumed out on a regular basis and cause a lot of odor in that?
Yes, sir. It's the same one. That's why we're going to be pushing hard to get this contractor working, moving quick.
I have received complaints about that, so.
Yes, I have too.
Needs to be done.
What type of interference will there be with traffic on the roads while this is going on?
They may have to close one lane on the street, but that's it. There's no closing of Main Street or 87.
Thank you.
Does it go down the center or one of the outside lanes?
It'll be one of the outside lanes. And if we keep it behind the curb, we will.
Is this pricing on this variable since there's 3 different methods for replacing the pipe? And
Yes.
there's different costs?
Yes, we took the worst case, which is cut, and we have prices for cured in place or pipe bursting. But we know we could do a little bit of each, but we've taken the worst case, which is the open cut method. And hopefully, like I said, we can, as we TV and televise it, we can reduce it by using another method.
Just do a deductive change order
Right.
if we're able to do it. Okay.
All right, motion, we approve E5.
Second.
Had a motion and a second to approve item E5. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Item E5 is approved.
Thank you.
We're on to city manager reports.
All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Mike to introduce the topic for tonight.
Thank you, Jesus, and Happy New Year, Mayor and Council. So today I get the pleasure of sharing with you one of my favorite topics, which is Keep Victoria Beautiful. So today, Ms. Christy Euchre will help me make the presentation. So keeping and making Victoria beautiful is one of the top priorities in the comprehensive plan. It is very important to the city because it helps us meet 3 key goals. One is that it helps us improve quality of life in our community by keeping it clean, because studies tell us that a clean community promotes healthier living, more community engagement, as well as happier citizens. The second key goal is creating a sense of pride and ownership from our residents. If we clean the city, we think that will be contagious. It will encourage others to maintain their yards, their properties, and of course, the city overall. And the third key goal of keeping the city beautiful is the promotion of tourism and economic development. We know that a clean city encourages people to come and visit and also helps us with the recruitment of new businesses. So we are very proud of the work that KVB, the board, has done to help keep the city beautiful. Now, KVB plays a key role in achieving those goals. KVB used to be an independent nonprofit until the city brought it in-house in 2019, 2020. So now KVB is under our Environmental Services Department that Daryl Lesak leads, and Krista Euchre is the coordinator. So the mission of KVB is to enhance livability by beautification through the fostering of a sense of pride and ownership. Again, the key word is the pride and ownership that we want when it comes to making sure that our city is clean. The KVB board has an aggressive agenda or work plan, and it includes citywide roadway cleanups. So they do 2 per year. Neighborhood cleanups, 2 per year. In fact, we had one recently of which several council members were there with us. It was the Parkway cleanup. We did last year or 2 years ago, we did the South Side cleanup led by Mayor Raleigh McCoy. We also do the monthly Business Beautification Awards, so we had one today. 13 educational programs, over 200 volunteers in our database, and of course the community partnership. It really takes a village when it comes to keeping our city clean and attractive. So we have partnerships with the area schools. So when we do cleanups, we have St. Joe students, we have Victoria East High School, West High School, all participate in the cleanups. We have partnerships at the YMCA, Texas Zoo, Master Gardeners, and so on and so forth. So it takes a village, but again, it's a key goal in our comprehensive plan, our 2035 plan, to make sure that we have an attractive, clean city because it helps promote tourism and economic development, as well as quality of life, and promotes a sense of pride and ownership. So let me ask Christy to come forward and talk about what the KVB board has achieved or will achieve in the coming months.
Well, first of all, I want to say I think I have the best and luckiest job in the city of Victoria. Since moving here less than a year ago, I can say that this city has it going on. And it happened with the partnerships that we do here and the leadership of the city and the council. And I've lived different places, but I can say things happen fast here when the community comes together, and I feel like it's happening. So to follow up on what Mike started there, partnerships are really key. And I think when, at least when I got here, we really focused on building those. As you know, the way to make things happen is to work together. And there is no way we would do the cleanups we do, the educational programs we do, without connecting directly with all of the great schools, organizations already doing great work here. So I want to say that first off, the KVB does not do it ourselves. It is done by the community. As you know, the Hiller House has been a KVB home for quite a while, and it's been recently brought back to life. And we hope to see it come back to life a little more. It's there at Riverside Park on the corner, and we have done quite a few updates to it. We replaced and repaired the back deck pretty quickly, and then the Convention and Visitors Bureau put the birding deck on there. I don't know how many of y'all have seen that, but it's really nice, and it's a great compliment to the park and to what we all do in Victoria. We've also restored the back pond. There was a back pond put in there quite a while back, and it was kind of falling apart. And we fixed that up. We did it with 7th graders, along with community appearance that did the finishing touches on it. And of course, it's kind of cold now in that freeze, but Check it out in the spring. It's got a nice flow and some nice native plants around
It's
it.
an ice rink right now.
Yeah, right. But it really was kind of an eyesore, and it's amazing just a little attention will do. So we use the Hiller House as an example of what can be done. So we've cleaned it up. Community appearance largely maintains the landscaping, but we're working with Victoria Garden Club. They come out and they do work on it. And they also meet in the Hiller House, so we've got a great partnership there. This will also be the site of a planned Earth Day celebration, April 23rd, that we'll do with Parks Department, Library, and Visitors Bureau, among others, after our big cleanup. So stay tuned for Earth Day activities there. I just want to highlight some of the cleanups we've done. This one was the one at the end of September, and I couldn't believe it. We had 238 people for this cleanup. Amazing, really amazing. We had 10 locations. We didn't just clean up at the Loop, we also cleaned up at remote locations. And we had board members out leading those, along with team leaders. We met with them before. Volunteers that brought groups. You can see Caterpillar there. We had TDECU, Victoria College Respiratory Group. St. Joe's brought over 50 high schoolers. I mean, impressive. To say the least, we had, you can see, police department there, smiling big, fire department. We cleaned 21 total miles, 15 total teams, 215 bags of trash. The Salvation Army provided us with drinks, and Chick-fil-A brought us food. New Rodeo Restaurant also brought us tacos. And let me tell you, you got to keep those volunteers happy. And we did. We fed, I think we ran out, but we fed everybody. So keeping them happy and having a clear direction is how we run these cleanups. So we feel like we get out there and make a difference. We want everybody to come back and have a good time. This one, of course, as Mike mentioned, is the one that really got a lot of this started, and the South Side cleanup. And it really did get us going, and we're building on that now. Over 100 volunteers, Public Works filled potholes, cleaned lots of curb and drainage inlets. Fire department installed a ton of smoke detectors, and police department put porch lights out. Library was there, and we picked up a ton of trash and debris. That would include not only bulky items, but tree limbs, that sort of thing, 35 tons. So I think that really got us started to do more of those. And so we did another one. And this one, many of you were there. The city manager was there. Mike was there. We had Councilman Young and Councilman De La Garza there. And plenty of volunteers. We had over 100 volunteers for this event. And one of the things I think that we think made a big difference is in this neighborhood, which is right off of C3 Victory Church and over near Dairy Treat, is we mailed postcards out. And it wasn't that hard to do, but it let people know what was coming. And we let them know that we're going to be driving by with the trucks for 2 weeks, and they start getting items out. We let them know what. And then we also worked with area churches, Northside Baptist and C3 Victory, and they block walked and got door hangers out. So we did consistent messaging and let people know what was coming. They were like, what? Who are you? What's going on here? And they could also sign up before and let us know if they needed help. So if they needed help getting stuff from back behind there, a lot of elderly need help. So we set that up and we started working 2 weeks before with our solid waste department. They did a great job. Our drivers and team went through there for 2 weeks before, and we had 19 residents sign up. We also had plenty of our city departments there, and they were awesome. Police there, fire, library, code enforcement, and our communications team. And I'll show you what we did. 10 teams. Once again, we organized before, so they knew what they were doing. We hoped. That was the plan anyway. And we ended up cleaning 50% of the houses in that neighborhood, which is pretty good. That's many responses that people were excited to do. 4.6 tons of brush and 14.4 tons of bulky items in total. And then on that day, we had 65 bulky pickups and 14 brush. Fire department, We're busy installing smoke detectors, 44 of them, and libraries signed up 7 people. I mentioned churches, they were integral. And by the way, they're going to help with other cleanups. They were adamant. They want to have teams and keep this going. So I consider them leaders of these cleanups. They are as much partners as anyone else. And the Salvation Army, once again, stepped up and they brought out donuts and sausage rolls. So the volunteers were happy when they got there. And churches provided coffee, very important when you arrive to have coffee and food. And we also had Bob Distributing provided drinks and a cleanup team. And it was great fun. And I want to thank all of you that were there. It was awesome. Some of our future cleanups, we mentioned that we are now planning to do 2 of these neighborhood cleanups a year and 2 of what we call roadway citywide cleanups. Our next one will be another neighborhood cleanup, Silver City area, and we're going to have our base at the MLK Junior Park. Hopefully we'll get more neighbors involved. We're also going to expand this one to include some other services. And our next citywide cleanup will be that Earth Day trash off that will follow up after the cleanup with events at Riverside Park. We always need volunteers and leaders and team leaders to feed people and that they'll walk away thinking, I did something good today. And Mike mentioned, and this is key, it's contagious. You don't leave trash out in Victoria. It's just not cool. And we're making it cool to keep this place looking clean. And that's what these are for. It's not necessarily about the day, it's about the whole attitude. You also know about our Business Beautification Awards because we're here every month recognizing them. But they're awesome. These places, whether they're big or small, have done and gone the extra mile to make their spaces look incredible. We're going to continue this. We identify those that don't have to have a lot of landscaping. It may just be trash free, but looking clean and keep the lawn mowed. They could have gorgeous plants. They could have just put some potted plants up and a new sign. We want to encourage all that. One of the new things we're going to do this year is we're going to launch our Beautification grant program. And we've been alluding to that for a while, but we're going to put money here now. I mean, little bits of money, but we're working to raise that money. We've written some more grants, and we're going to work on a membership program to build that fund so business can apply for help. And we're excited to launch that. We'll be doing that this spring. Just to highlight some of the grants we've gotten this year, we're going to build on this, but every bit makes a difference. As you know, we were awarded a Greenback grant. We're going to start working to help the zoo with Butterfly Garden. So that was a joint project there. That'll be, we're going to start doing that this spring. We had a Rebuilding Texas grant. If you noticed at 700 Main, if you drove around that back, it was looking pretty sad after that freeze last year. So we fixed it up and we got a grant for all of those plants, all the installation, all of the new water lines, fixtures that had to go in. Our community appearance did that work, but the KBB grant is what funded it. We also received a Chamber Ambassadors grant to go towards that Business Beautification grant program. So we're going to keep plugging away. This is the way we're going to build on what the city helped to start. And we're only going to get bigger and better. So a couple of other things that we're looking at in addition to the grant program. This is an exploratory project. We're just starting to look at it and we're doing more research. But because of some interest from you guys and from others in doing some large-scale public art mural installations. And some of the areas we've identified are those at Navarro, these underpasses, and at Laurent. You notice them, and they need they could use some action, some color. And so we're starting to look at that. We're working with Visitors Bureau and Main Street as part of kind of an overall public art effort that we'd like to launch. We'd like to have some of this going on for the bicentennial, so we can do it in a celebratory way. The funding we're potentially looking at for some of these large-scale projects, the hotel, motel, occupancy tax funds, but once again, we are just exploring. We'll come back with some details later. We plan to put out an RFP for some of these bigger projects for experienced large-scale muralists. But as a part of all of these efforts, we will make sure that we have paid local artists as a part of all of them and that we mentor them as well as we build these public art efforts. And we'd like to see them coordinated. So this one we're excited about. It's in the works, but we wanted to bring it up and just show you what what we're thinking.
On something like that, is that meant to be just whatever the artist wants to be up there? Like we have at some other locations in downtown, are we going to make it more germane to Victoria and its history?
Absolutely, that's the plan. And we've also,
Which one?
whatever you want. No. So the plan is that it is something that community will have some input on. And KB, although we're just not taking it to the board, so I'm speaking a little premature, but we're proposing that KVB serve as a public forum, stakeholder kind of place, so that we have some clear guidelines, and that will be all in RFP. And then once we get that back, we'll have community input on all of that. So good question. Yeah. And these are public spaces, so we can definitely do that. The last thing I just want to highlight is the Green Ribbon Project is happening. It will happen this spring. Pre-construction meeting is scheduled for next week, and this is building on what we've already started. And I love you can barely see them, but the little beds that we've started, they're there. And we're going to build on it with this project with TxDOT. If you remember, the $515,000 project is largely funded by TxDOT with $200,000 from the city, and we'll begin that work very soon. And I'm going to turn over this to Mike.
Thank you and great job. So this slide here, Mayor and Council, is the overpass or the underpass of John Stockbauer in the Loop. And if you've driven through or under the underpass of John Stockbauer in the Loop, as well as Navarro in the Loop, or 463 in Millette, you would notice that they're very dirty. Some of them like very grimy. So we have been talking to TxDOT to power wash or pressure wash the underpass to clean it. Because again, it's that perception that it's dirty and it's not welcoming, especially going towards the mall. So we have been working with TxDOT, but unfortunately, TxDOT has declined to help us at this time. So what we are looking to do is to put funding in the budget, especially in the Environmental Services Department, to essentially purchase the equipment necessary to clean it. Again, because we want to make sure we clean those facilities. We want to ensure that the city in all areas look great. So we just wanted to bring that to your attention. Finally, I just want to thank City Council for their help and also helping with the cleanups. I know all of you have been to the cleanups. I know Mark has been to the South Side, Dr. Young, Jen's been to the South Side cleanup, Mayor Borknight. We have to get you out, Dwayne, I know you knew, Ms. Elise, and of course, Ricky. So we could not do it without you. In fact, keeping the cities clean is a very low indicator when it comes to promoting economic development, and I don't know why. It really should be a top priority for all cities when it comes to economic growth. If you want the city to grow, if you want to attract businesses or recruit businesses, you have to keep the city clean. So I really want to thank the KVB board for leading that effort. And we will continue on our side to keep the city clean and attractive. So to that end, I want to thank the KVB board, and you can see their names here. Ms. Meredith Bird is our new chair. She's with the Food Bank. Beth Kuntz, vice chair. Shannon Longoria, who's our past president. Darryl Lisak, who's our ex officio, but Darryl is our fearless leader, who is the director of environmental services. You have Kim McGill with Gardenville, Rick Madrid, Clint Ives. So we do have county representation on the KVB board. So Commissioner Clint Ives attends all of the meetings and really participate. Shanna Lopez with Waste Management, Jordan Schott, Hunter Follett with Tejas Production, and Cindy Sheehan. So we have a very good group who are committed to keeping the city clean and attractive and help promote growth and economic development. So that is the end of our presentation, Mayor and Council, and we can answer any questions that you might have. Again, thank you for your help in keeping the city clean and attractive.
Thank you all. I really appreciate the effort that KVB does for the citizens of Victoria through the beautification. I'm glad that we start the beautification award monthly again. And I can't express enough how important it is that we continue pushing like this, and really your efforts are noticed and appreciated by everybody.
Mike, I was going to suggest that, with having had kids in high school, they have some awesome artists in the school that they might be able to use for, the projects that they want to do for beautification.
Well, some of
And
their
that would
artwork.
give them pride in the city because their project got put on the wall somewhere, and it's going to be a permanent reminder. Kind of like when they were doing the corners of the streets or whatever, but I think that might be a good project. Some of those kids have got talent that, it goes to waste after they get out of school most of the time.
I completely agree, and that helps with the sustainability and building pride. You start with them young.
Right.
So they can continue that effort. So we'll make sure that we reach out, Councilwoman, to the schools to get the young artists involved, because it has to be sustainable, and getting the young people involved is the key.
Yes.
Mike, a question. The underpasses up north, but what about the underpasses on the south side? Laurent, Navarro, power wash those as well?
Yes, sir. That's on the schedule as well, to
Thank you.
power wash those and do their artwork on the
Great,
ones on the south
great.
side.
No, thank you.
Cleaned, yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you.
All right, that finishes city manager reports. I believe we have a executive session.
Yes, sir.
The City Council will recess into executive session on the 4th day of January 2022 at 6:02 PM. The subject matter of the executive session is the deliberation is as follows. Executive session in accordance with Texas Government Code 551.072 and to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property interest due to the fact that deliberation in an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the position of the city in negotiations with a third party.
Thank you. Let's recess until 6:10, and we'll convene the executive session then. Thank you.